Support for Radio Friends comes from La Brunerie Financial, where they work to ensure a lifetime of financial security for people from all walks of life, from investment services to retirement plans. If you're looking for a trustworthy company that has the experience and knowledge to put your interests first, contact La Brunerie Financial, a community-based investment counseling firm since 1966. Good morning. Welcome to Radio Friends on the 4th of July. Good to have you here, and thank you for putting a little time aside to join us before the picnics or whatever else you're going to do on the 4th of July. Larry Brown is here, and of course our tradition.
I'm here for holidays.
You're here for the holidays, right? And you're kind of like the family that gets together for the holidays. You're here at Radio Friends. 4th of July, and you've got a story today?
Yeah, I want to tell us about a very important event that happened on July 4th.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
July 4th, 1884.
1884?
Oh, yeah. Well, that was the day that a gift was presented to the United States by the country of France as a commemoration of their alliance during the revolution against Great Britain. And the United States was presented this large statue as a gift, and it was presented to the representative of the United States at that time, who was Ambassador Morton. Then later, it was completed and then brought to the United States in 1885, and there was put on a pedestal that had been built to receive it, and then was dedicated in the United States in October of 1885 by President Grover Cleveland. But that gift is I wanted to chat a bit about that gift. Now, technically it was called Liberty Enlighting the World. But we refer to it, of course, as the Statue
of
Liberty, or sometimes Lady Liberty. Well, there's a backstory about that. Now, the sculptor Frederick Auguste Bartholdi had been originally designed a large, massive sculpture that was going to be presented at the opening of the Suez Canal in 1869, and this was to be an Egyptian peasant woman, and in peasant garb. But when the time came to construct it, the costs were so high and the country of Egypt could not afford it, they scrapped the plan. So he was in conversation with some other folks in France and altered the design, but kept the same sort of basic features. So it was still a woman, but this time she was clothed in Greek-looking robes, and instead of a light emanating from her head, they put a crown there and held a torch in her hand, and in the other hand was holding a tablet. And of course, this was his sort of same understanding of enlightenment. Bartholdi had a sense of, well, these European values ought to be values for the world, like liberty and justice and equality. Well, what I wanted to talk to you was a bit about another backstory. Now, the pedestal, the platform, was being built, and built rather quickly to receive the Statue of Liberty. It was dismantled and brought to the United States and put together again on an island in New York Harbor. That island originally was one of, the colonists called them the Oyster Islands. Delaware people called the one island Manaus, or Little Island. And that had a fort on it, going back to the War of 1812, Fort Wood. So they chose to put it on Fort Wood property on this little island. And of course, later, by the 1920s, it was turned over to the National Park Service, and today, of course, is a National Historic Site, a memorial, and is managed now by the Park Service. Well, it went through, of course, these transitions, but it always has stood there in a harbor as a greeting for all folks who come into the harbor, particularly immigrants, and for the millions that came through Ellis Island in those years. Well, on the pedestal is a plaque, and on that plaque is a sonnet that was written by Emma Lazarus. And she was a part of the fundraiser using that sonnet to raise money to build the pedestal to put the Statue of Liberty up upon it. And so her little sonnet now is enshrined on a plaque. Now, Emma Lazarus was a published poet, between the years 1867 and 1887, only about 20 years of publishing poems. But she traveled to Europe, and her family background was one branch of her family were Portuguese-speaking Brazilian Jews. And they had fled the Inquisition in Brazil to the colonies, back before there was the United States, to the colony of the New Netherlands. And she then was experiencing oppression toward Jews in Europe by the end of the 19th century. And she was a part of what we would today call the progressive movement. There was social reform, there was labor reform, child welfare laws. A lot of social service was going on, and that included religious figures like Rauschenbusch or all the way over to Teddy Roosevelt, trying to reshape a sense of social responsibility for the United States. So she was a part of that movement as well. So in her poem, her sonnet, is reflected contemporary concerns of her life about including people. Well, I wanted to share with you, perhaps you could recite it with me, what that sonnet goes. Something like this. Not the brazen giant of Greek fame, whose conquering limbs extend from land to land. Here, on this sea-washed sunset gate, will be a mighty woman with a torch. Her beacon offering worldwide welcome. The flame, imprisoned lightning, and her name, Mother of Exiles. Her calm eyes command the air-bridged harbor Twin Cities frame. Don't, you ancient cultures, share your storied pomp. With her eyes, tearful and silent lips, she says, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe freely. The wretched refuge of your teeming shores. Send these, the homeless and the tempest-tossed, to me. I hold my lamp beside the golden door.
On the 4th of July, we say thank you, Larry. Thank you for a history lesson. That's it for today. Have a happy 4th of July.